And all right, we're looking good. Megan, thank you
Hey,
so much for joining me
thank
today.
you for having me. I appreciate the
Yes.
opportunity to come on your channel.
Yeah. So you got to tell that story. You're not you're
Which
not very well
story?
slept. Tell the audience what happened. Oh
Okay.
my God.
I didn't sleep well last night, and Brendan asked why. And I tell him that my kids kept me up and that we locked my youngest son in his room. We turned around the lock on the door so he wouldn't keep coming out at night. So he's got everything he needs, everything's safe in there. And he keeps figuring out ways to unlock the door with his toys. So last night it was a little policeman figurine Lego toy, and he used the hand on it to turn the inside of the lock to unlock his door. So if I look tired and there's dark circles under my eyes, it is because I have a locksmith for a child.
Well, someone that's got two kids, like, we forgive you. Trust me on that. Good Lord. I mean, that's the thing too. And all it takes is like one pouty lip, one little pouty lip, and it's
Yep.
like, okay, we're gonna have
Yep.
to start over. Like, I'm sorry for disciplining you.
Yeah, and I feel bad. And my older son, you can't lock him in his room because he'll scream and cry, and then I feel bad. I'm like, no, I don't want to be like a bad mom and be like, go to your room now.
Yeah, and on top of all of that, you've got all of this stuff going on in the background, trying to work, trying to earn an income, like super, super busy. And that's actually I noted. That's how I found you. On Instagram, right? Looking at certain and I'm not like, you're amazing on Instagram. Like, I'm terrible. I shouldn't say I'm terrible. Like, I got to give myself a little bit more credit. I'm not bad on Instagram. I'm trying to get better. It just is not, it's like one more thing. And I have to think about one more thing. Like, Courtney from Bolo Buddies is like, why don't you like, I get not yelled at. Like, she's just like, every time I complain to her about slow sales, she's like, I'm done with you. Like, just cross list everything. And I'm like, but that's one more thing
One more step
I have to worry about. I don't want to worry about. But your Instagram game is awesome. That's how I found you, like through a eBay, like, wholesale inventory. I don't remember what tag it was, right? It was like a eBay wholesale inventory, something like that.
Yeah, I used a lot of different hashtags, so it was probably something like that. But I'm happy that it's working, and I found you, I guess.
That's right.
Because I
Yeah.
consider myself kind of an Instagram newbie. I didn't even join Instagram until maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I wasn't on Instagram, and I'm not even on like Snapchat or TikTok, all these new things that the younger generation is on. I've just now like got into Instagram. So
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever it is, it's obviously working. Like, and we'll get into like all of the wholesale stuff. But you're here. You are trying to do all of these things, right? And then you have your little lovable rugrats running around picking your house locks. Like, that's hilarious. Like that, I get that. Believe me.
That's real life though. We've had to turn around locks on so many of the doors to keep them out of like closets. All of our kitchen cabinets have like the magnetic lock, so there's like a magnetic key on the refrigerator to like put in a certain spot to open the cabinets. They figured that out.
Unbelievable.
So much for childproofing.
Yeah, well, you did the best you can. I mean, I don't even think they had those options 20 years ago. Like, what were we doing? Like, were we drinking the bottles of soap underneath the cabinets?
But we're all still alive.
Right? How did we survive?
What doesn't kill you only makes you stronger.
That's the truth. So I gotta hear this again from you. When did you started selling on eBay? Like, what was your official age?
I was around 12. I've always been like an entrepreneur mindset. I've done lemonade stands when I was a kid. And then one of my friends, when I was around 12, told me about eBay. And she told me, you can sell anything on eBay. And I was so intrigued because she was telling me this story about this person that like was selling pens on eBay and like random junk around their house. And I was like, well, I've got pens. I've got tons of stuff around our house that we could sell. So I used my parents' account and I just started selling things. And we had so much stuff laying around. I was always just finding things and no one missed it. No one knew that I was selling their stuff.
I just can't even believe that. Yeah.
So at 12, that's when I started selling. And then I got my own account when I was 18. And that was just kind of like a part-time thing. I worked, but I didn't go full-time until 4 years ago when my first son was born. That was like when I jumped off the cliff into the eBay pool.
Sure. Full-time. is like a lot different than part-time for sure.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you said you did this after your first son was born. You decided to go full-time?
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know me, my husband is active duty in the Army, so we move every 3 years. At the time, we were living in Washington near Seattle. We didn't have any friends or family there. I had a really good job as an assistant manager for a bank. You know, we just bought this brand new, big, beautiful house. We had new cars. My husband just got promoted to a sergeant at that time. So I was like, yeah, like we're really like doing good. And then I got pregnant with my son. Everything was great because that was the time of my life when I was like, yeah, like this is a good time to start having kids. You know, we've got good jobs, a nice new house, we got vehicles, health insurance, like, you know, we're in a good place. And then I found out closer, probably when I was, I don't know, in my at least 30th week being pregnant, I realized that daycares are only open Monday through Friday, like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and no holidays. Well, the bank I worked at was open. It was in a grocery store. So it was open 7 days a week from like, I think we had to be there at like, I don't know, 8:30, and the bank closed at like 7 during the week. So till 7:30, and we were open the weekends and all holidays except for like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. Like we were always open. And my husband, being Army, is always gone. Sometimes he's gone for a couple months at a time. Right. So with that, like I was looking at other jobs, like trying to find like a regular 9 to 5. I couldn't find anything that like paid enough because we have to pay for daycare, you know, on top of that. So while I was on maternity leave, I found one of my friends now. His name is Casey Paris. His YouTube channel is Rockstar Flipper. And that is when I realized that this little eBay side hustle thing I was doing is something that I might be able to do full time to replace my income so that we wouldn't have to pay for daycare for my son. And I think I had 2 months worth of maternity leave. And in that time, I made a plan to make at least like $1,000 a month on eBay because I needed that money. We had car payments, you know, I had this brand new house payment. And, you know, my husband was skeptical at first about, you know, me leaving this really good job to do eBay.
Yeah, but I mean, those hours were never going to work, right? The bank hours inside the grocery store they're awful. That's an impossibility. So
yeah,
you know,
but I was looking at other jobs, and with the pay I could get, it would have been such a big loss of income to go from this good money I was making just to find like a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday job. And then on top of that, pay like almost $1,000 a month for daycare for a newborn. So my goal is to just like make $1,000 a month on eBay. And my husband was like, okay, we can try this for a couple months. And if it doesn't work, you're going to have to go find a job. Like we've got 2 car payments, a brand new big house payment. Like it's not going to work. Like, we have to be realistic about this. So I made it work. And here we are 4 years later. I've been able to more than replace my income that I made at the bank when I was there. So it was born out of necessity. Sorry, I'm talking too much. This is like really
no.
It came out of necessity.
It's like there's like a million things to cover here. First, like let's shout your husband out, right, for his service for sure. I mean, we just had, you know, Memorial Day coming up. Like, kudos to you, my man. Like that's an incredible sacrifice. I'm sure I speak on behalf of a lot of people. We say thank you very much for your service. You rock. But you guys move a lot, right? If it's a military family, like you said, every 3 years, you guys are moving.
We've been in 3 states in the past 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, right. So
and big moves too, not little. We went from Alaska to Washington State to Texas, like across the whole country.
Was the reselling thing a thing in Alaska yet or no?
Yeah. So when we were in Alaska, you know, I was still just doing it like a couple items a month. And at that point, I was actually going to thrift stores with the intent to resell, but I was probably making like $100, $200 a month. Like it was just something casual I was doing because I worked at the bank there too in Alaska. I transferred with the bank when we moved to Washington and then got promoted in Washington to the assistant branch manager. But I was doing it in Alaska, but just like $100, $200. I wasn't making anything serious.
What's it like? What are the thrift stores like there? Just out of curiosity. Like, I mean, you might not have been thinking along the lines of like, I'm going to hammer this full time. Like I got to find all this stuff, but just like, I got to know, like, what's what are thrift stores in Alaska like?
Not good. So I'm from Fairbanks, which is the middle of Alaska. The city and the surrounding areas probably has about 100,000 people. There's like 2 or 3 thrift stores, and it's not good stuff compared to where I've been. Seattle, like big city, Dallas, Texas, big city. It's not good stuff. It would be very hard to be full-time eBay reseller in Fairbanks, Alaska, unless you're buying wholesale from somewhere, because the thrift stores just don't have, you can't find high-end name brand stuff there because none of those stores are there. Yeah. And it's a military town. So fortunately, some of the stuff coming into thrift stores is from military that have bought this stuff from other states. But the mall there had like, I don't know, 20 stores, and it was like, I don't know, PacSun, American Eagle. Like there were no big department stores. There's no Nordstrom. There's no Macy's, no Dillard's. There's not even a Target. People are buying their clothes at Walmart.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear. I'd love to hear from. There was a Sears, but I mean, how can you source there? Like, I mean, even thinking about full time would be. I'd like to hear from somebody that like might be living in that area that's at least doing this part time. Like, what is it like now? Like, how are you surviving, or how are you getting by, or whatever? But you brought up, and you will get into the like wholesale purchasing inventory here in just a second, but it's like that's one of the things that always scares me about a potential move is like I kind of know what I have here in my local area and it works. It's insanely competitive and I say that, and I'm not somebody that exaggerates, but like because it's it seems like it could be cost effective to live in certain areas here in like Metro Columbus. Yeah. It's insanely competitive, but like how on earth are you not surviving, or are you surviving on just so little inside those thrift stores, but you're gone. So you have to worry about that at that point. Probably in a better area, at least an area that's easier to thrift in outside of like the wholesale thing and targeting a different audience. And
trying to get wholesale pallets shipped to Alaska would be very expensive if they'd even ship it there. So I told my husband, I was like, we can't ever get stationed back in Alaska, Hawaii, or a different country because this business just isn't going to work there. Because here in the US, being in Texas, there's so much wholesale that I can have shipped here for not a huge expense. So in some areas, I just don't think it would work very well. But I'm sure there's people there who make it work. So you should have someone on your channel, I guess, at some point, maybe who does live in Alaska.
Chime in. Or Hawaii. If you're listening, let me know. Like, let's talk in the comments for sure. Let me know how it's going for you. I'm hopeful and wishing you the best. But I had one more question regarding you moving. Does your husband now does he have a say if you guys have to like up and move? Like, does he have any input, or is it like boss's orders? This is where you're headed. Is it still kind of like that too?
So our last 2 moves, we did have a little bit of a say. From Alaska to Washington, I think we could put in like a request for a couple different places, and we picked Washington because the bank I worked at also had locations in Washington, so I could just transfer with my job and still be working with the same company. From Washington to here, my husband got a recruiting assignment. So that's where you go out and recruit people to actually join the military. So that job can be done in any state. There doesn't even have to be a military base there. So we asked specifically for the Dallas, Texas area because my husband's family lives here. And somehow we got it. I don't even know. I guess they do like to put people at a base or at an area for recruiting that they're familiar with. And since he actually joined the military from the same station that he's working at now, recruiting people, somehow he lucked out and we got here. So Washington, we're near a big city there. We kind of lucked out because a lot of military bases are in small towns, middle of nowhere. So this next move, though, we probably won't have any choice at all.
Okay. I was going to say that's a little bit, provides a little bit of relief, but now you're saying you might not. Okay.
We kind of lucked out the last 2 times having choices, and sometimes at the time when you re-enlist, there are choices. But at this point, with his rank and time in service, there's not a lot of opportunity for like movement and different jobs. And this recruiting assignment was a 3-year assignment. And then he automatically reverts back to infantry, which was his original job, which he doesn't like. So he's looking for a different opportunity. But the issue is at this point, he's a staff sergeant now. There's not a lot of movement opportunities to change your job completely. So if he finds something else he likes, we probably won't have any choices. So fingers crossed, wherever we go next will be a big city, but it could be middle of nowhere, Alabama. I don't know.
That like stresses me out, and I'm not even a member of your family.
Yes, it does stress me out because I'm like, I need these thrift stores. But I mean, I've learned to adapt. You know, when we were in Washington, I thought we had great thrift stores there. And then coming here, I'm like, oh, those were terrible. These are way better here. So, I mean,
it's getting better and better. It's either getting better and better, or you're getting better and better. You know,
maybe it's both. I don't
know. Yeah. So you sell where do you sell primarily? Like, where do you sell your goods? Let's talk about direct to consumer, not business to business. Like you selling stuff on eBay to an end user, or like where are you doing the majority of your selling?
So I would say 99% is eBay. I do a little bit of Poshmark. I did purchase cross-posting software to transfer eBay listings over to Poshmark, but I've got 3,400 listings on eBay and like
3,400, huh? Jeez.
Yeah, and then 30 listings on Poshmark. So you can see how that's going.
Yeah, right.
I'm all eBay and I sell just a couple items a month on Poshmark. I need to get off my butt and just cross-post everything, but I just haven't taken the time to do it.
You're asking the wrong person about cross-posting. Trust me. Do you do anything on Amazon?
Things that we need to do that we haven't done.
Yeah,
Not having all your eggs in one basket.
I don't have any excuses. It just is what it is. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason for why I do or I don't do something. Do you sell on Amazon at all?
No. Previously in the past, I think I've sold maybe 2 or 3 items, and that was actually probably when I lived in Alaska.
Okay.
But at that time, it was really hard to get ungated in the categories I wanted to sell in. And it just seemed so complicated. And I kind of just left that and was like, whatever. eBay has been so good to me, and I've made it work. And at this point, I just don't have the time to spread myself out like that, just between eBay and doing my Bolo box website and the Instagram, plus my whole family. You know, I just haven't branched out to Amazon.
How did you serve this? So like here, I'm thinking about too, where a husband's gone a lot, so you have the weight of the children to deal with, which is those are happy problems to have. Like I have the same lovely problem. It's a wonderful problem to have. But how did you manage COVID last year because for me, all I had was Marketplace, right? I had more of a death pile than I thought I had. Like, it's amazing what you can find to resell when you can't go to stores or get inventory anywhere else, right? So I navigated it and managed, and of course, sales exploded for everybody. But what did you do like when that happened? Because I was just Facebook Marketplace and like a lot of nothing else really.
I was in a bad position last year in March when that happened because when we were in Washington, I had a huge death pile. I had a huge pallet, like all the way up to the wall, full of bags from the thrift store. So I told myself, when we move, I'm not going to have a huge death pile anymore. So March last year, I had no death pile. And all of a sudden, all the stores closed down, all the thrift stores completely closed, and I had no inventory.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Right.
I'm going through my house, like, what can I find to resell? I need to be listing 20 items a day. Like, every day that I'm not listing, I am just going down, down, down. So I started putting ads out on our local neighborhood app to people in my community, asking if they had clothes that they wanted to get rid of that I could buy from them, because the thrift stores are all closed. You can't even go and do like your spring cleaning and donate your stuff. So I did that to get some items that I could resell. It wasn't great stuff, but a couple people gave me a couple bags of clothes for free, which I was so grateful to have. I wasn't picky at that point. Like, I'll take anything. Give me your Walmart faded glory, t-shirts. I'll sell it. But that is when I first got into wholesale. So that whole pandemic problem, everything being closed, really opened a new door for me. That is when I first bought wholesale. And the very first pallet I bought was a huge 2,000 piece, like 4 pallet lot from QVC. And since then, I've been buying tons of wholesale, and I haven't hit the thrift stores that much.
Yeah, I'm telling you what, you used like one of the local apps and hit up your like that's one of the things that I don't know where I learned about that or thought about it. I was talking about it in one of my videos. Like I'm going to try this, and I just never got around to it. Like that's like, I don't know if it's only gutsy because
I was desperate.
But everyone's fear is like, what's like, once all of the like negative Nancy's, I hate to use the term Karen because I don't want to insult a Karen or Nancy, but whatever. Once all the Karens, shout out to all you lovely Karens. Trust me.
My neighbor's name is Karen, and she's really sweet.
Right. But what about that one Karen that like, wants to be like, what are you doing trying to hit people? You know what I mean? Like that, I guess that's what a lot of people's reservations would be. But going on an app like Nextdoors, I'm assuming what that app is. That's one of the apps that I use for the local thing, and saying, hey, I'm going to buy your stuff. Like, don't donate it. Like, let me buy it. Like that's an incredible way to get I think a lot of inventory that you wouldn't otherwise have thought about getting access to because the stores were open. Like that takes real guts. Like what was that?
I was desperate. I had gone through my closet a couple times. So I was like, I still need to make money, and I have nothing to list. Mm-hmm. So,
and this is before you had even thought about like, let me try to buy wholesale for myself, and like
didn't even think about it.
Yeah. Okay.
It was before that.
Right.
So I did that. And so I drove around and picked up stuff from my neighbors. And at that point, wholesale was still pretty cheap. So I found that QVC palette. I want to say I paid like 80 cents an item. I got a really good deal. I bid on 2 different lots from QVC, and I won both of them, which I was only planning on winning one. So a huge 4-pallet semi truck like came to my house, and there's like these 4 pallets. They left them on the street. So we had to like haul all these boxes up to the garage. And with that is when Bolo Box was born, my wholesale website, because I had 2,000 pieces of inventory, and there's no way I can list 2,000 items.
It's the Bolo Box, right?
Yeah, so the bolobox.com.
I'll link it in the description, like when this is all said and done. But anyways, keep going.
That's where I ended up starting listing wholesale lots for sale, because I got so much and there was no way I could list it all. And I primarily sell women's jeans and pants, and there were so many tops in there and like jackets and dresses. It just wasn't stuff that I like to sell. And now that I had like a surplus, I could afford to offload some of it and just keep the jeans and pants for myself. So out of the pandemic, I learned about wholesale and jumped in, and I started a wholesale website. So when one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah, that's amazing. But in order for it to work long term, like it has to be a win-win. Like you have to either like be able to liquidate what you can liquidate because you just don't have the time to get to it, right? It is what it is. It's like me, like why I price my items. Like I target such a different type of buyer than the vast majority of eBay buyers do, but I do that to fend off sales. It's not that I don't want sales, but like I don't want to double my output, because without hiring anybody else to help, that doubles my time spent. And I'm trying to reduce the amount of time I use eBay while making more money. And the only way to do that is just ask more, right? Just price more.
And I do that too intentionally, because I mean, with the amount of time it takes to list each of these items, I don't mind losing a couple sales if I can make more. I have a big enough funnel now with, my 3,400 listings that I don't have to sell a lot of items a day to still make a good amount of money.
Right. Well, exactly. But in order for it to work long term, something's going right, because you're able to get on eBay what you can get on eBay. And then you have created a wholesale site for other resellers. And if they're continuously buying it, they're having success with it, you have to assume, right? They're able to resell those items, or they're using they just like buying cheap inventory for themselves. They don't necessarily, just because it's wholesale for maybe other resellers, doesn't mean that you can't purchase those for personal purposes, right? So there's 2 ways to win that game there. So the fact that you're doing it and you're selling through these items means that they're winning also. And that's the kind of the important thing too, is like, are we going to have another pandemic in our lifetimes? No. But will the circumstances, if you are asking one man's opinion of reselling, like it's kind of constantly evolving and changing, right? I mean, you just had, Etsy just bought Depop, and you never know what the thrift store's plan is going to be. I mean, I know Goodwill is putting like a really heavy focus on their e-commerce division, right? So they're sniping all of the good stuff and putting it online too. And if you're running they call themselves a nonprofit, and I'm not going to dog them because I see a lot of their programs, like a lot of the programs that they run, those educational programs for people. I see them, and so it's like, I'm not going to just like be real quick to dog Goodwill, because I think there is a lot of good being done. Every business has like high paid executives and all that stuff. I mean, it's just this.
Well, that's their job. Like, and those good executives wouldn't work there if they didn't have a good paycheck.
You have to do it. It doesn't have to be pretty. And some stores, like, is it outrageous to charge $25 for like a generic Starbucks mug? Probably, but I mean, but it evolves. The model evolves, and that's when I was like, how can I, for my audience, help them even more than just because no one's getting rich off watching like what sold on eBay videos. Like, you're going to learn stuff from me. Like, if you listen to me yap about something I sold, like, all right, you might catch it in a store, but like, if you want to make real money, like, there's other ways to do that too. So how am I going to serve my audience? So I was like, I'll do wholesale too. Not like Megan, because me going through your Instagram, I was like overwhelmed. Like, this woman, like, I thought I was good, but this is a real, and I can't stand the term hustle, but that takes real hustle. Like, I think you should be given a lot of credit for just managing your time, right? Because like, I look at my win count, 350 wins on Fortnite, and I'm like, that took how many hours away of my day? Like, what are you doing?
I don't play any video games, and I really don't watch much TV. It's eBay work, get the kids, spend time with them, dinner, bedtime, sleep, eat. That's pretty much it. I don't spend a lot of time on TV.
Yeah. Well, it circles us back to Alaska, right? So like, now let's think about that person out there in Fairbanks that like wants to make money and maybe wants to leave. I always say like, I really want like someone at some point, or multiple people who follow me, to say, I had the courage to leave this job, and with your help, assistance, and these things that you've provided me, whether it's your wholesale stuff or your videos, whatever, you inspired me to get to where I'm at. Like, that's my end goal for sure. Outside of obvious things like starting a YouTube channel for, potential YouTube revenue down the road, like those things should be built in and they're obvious. But so that person in Alaska, they can't get anything good in stores, right?
Unless you got Walmart, Faded Glory, Old Navy.
What Time and True, is that one of their brands?
Yeah.
Christ. So they come to something like you've created. Like, I don't know if you've looked on eBay recently, like at the BULQ lots, BULQ.
I've gotten one of them, and it was terrible, and I did a review video.
Oh, you did? You okay? I'll look for the video. Don't you get to see everything that's in there beforehand, or no?
I mean, there was a picture of the box.
That's it? One picture and nothing else?
I think it was like one picture. And The only reason that I bought it was, this was when BULQ first launched those wholesale boxes on eBay. There was a promotion going where if you bought any box, eBay would give you like $20 in worth of like eBay gift card kind of thing.
Yep.
And the box was like $28. So I was like, well, heck, I'm going to get $20 back from eBay anyways. And there are all these lots or boxes in there of Ziploc bags. So I was like, heck, if anything, I can use the plastic bags that are in there, or I'll resell them. So
right.
I bought it for that because it was pretty much free for me. But after opening it, like, it was terrible.
Oh, and so you like did the unboxing on camera, which is great. But I was looking earlier today, and it looks like they have like 5,000 listings. But then, of course, like because I spend my entire existence looking at the advanced search tab on eBay, sold. I search so many different things, and that's just one more way for me to speed myself up when I'm in store, because it's real easy to like hone in on when I'm doing my trip through a store, to hone in on certain things. And like when you're in the same stores in and out every day, you tend to like gravitate to the same spots. So like I'm always in the advanced tab on eBay, like trying to spot something that like looks really kind of generic and normal, but has high value. And like, that's how I feel like the most of us will have longevity if our primary sourcing is from thrift stores only, which is me. But I'm looking at the sold bulk lots, and there's only like, I could only see like 5 or 6. Like this seemed like a really big launch for them. And I see like in the groups, people like, hey, has anyone tried the bulk thing? And and people are chiming in like, oh my God, it's terrible. Don't waste your time. Or, oh, I had success and I bought like 3 or 4 of them now. But I don't see the sold data is telling me a totally different story. The sold data relative to the amount of listings they have on eBay is saying run from this crap because it's crap. Yeah. So, you're just telling me, you're kind of corroborating the story I've built in my head just based on what I saw. Like, avoid this crap. This is bad inventory.
Yeah, it was. And I think the lot that I bought, I want to say it was like a customer returns. I know because I ended up complaining about it to BULQ because everything else in there was like broken or missing pieces. I ended up complaining to them, and they told me the one that I bought was like a customer returns box, and that they did have like new inventory boxes. But I bought that one because it was like the cheapest, and I was going to pretty much get all my money back from eBay. But it was just junk, like random pieces of stuff from like sets that I didn't even know like what it was. It was terrible. I think, and BULQ has their own website, so their whole like partnership with eBay. The only plus side to it is eBay will like auto generate those listings for you from the bulk lot, from the manifest. But everything I got was like broken or missing pieces, so it wasn't even stuff worth listing in the first place.
No, you have to spend time deleting the damn
because it's missing something. Like it's not a new in package, whatever, it's broken.
So good inventory, like what I think you are currently sourcing, what does it look? So for somebody that that doesn't have the opportunity to go to thrift stores or refuses to go to thrift stores and wants to buy in bulk just to make their lives a little bit easier, honestly, like if you ask me, and I don't know what the margins are on per piece, and I don't really think that matters. That's up to your buyer to determine that beforehand, like how much money they think they're going to buy on a lot. But what type of, I just lost my train of thought, and a good question for you, and I like forgot it. But you talk about, while I get myself back on track, like what the items are that a potential buyer of wholesale inventory who like either doesn't want to go to thrift stores, can't, any combination of both, like what can they expect out of the stuff that you provide? And how often do you do launches, or like how often is stuff for sale on the site?
So typically I have a launch like once a month. Occasionally I've had 2 or 3. Most recently, there's been like a 2-month gap because our garage has been full with other things. I don't have space for pallets. But I do have some for sale right now. So typically I do a launch once a month. Let's just go with that. Okay. And what I do, which is different from buying big wholesale from the companies I buy from, is I like to break it up into small, like affordable lots that are pretty specific. So let's say I buy a huge 2,000 piece clothing pallet from Target. I'll take it and I'll break it up and do like, here's a 20 piece swimwear only new with tags lot that I've inspected for $99. Or here's a plus size only women's lot new with tags from Target, 20 piece, $99. So I break it up into small lots that are typically pretty specific, so people can actually get exactly what they want and not have to buy a huge pallet and take all the trash with what they're trying to pick for.
The reason I'm asking this next question is because what I'm sourcing and like what I'm kind of building in the background is wholesale related, but none of it's new. It's stuff that I source. Like I'm just might as well like continue to just buy more. And then again, offer my audience something else to help them when, watching the videos isn't enough to help you grow your business. But have you ever thought about doing mixing the lots, like, or did you learn somewhere that like the swimsuit only thing works best, the pants only thing works best? Are buyers like pretty niche like that, or like how did you make the decision? Did you just decide that that's how you were going to do it with no other?
I just decided that's how I was going to do it,
Okay.
because when I was buying these big pallets that were like 2,000 items, it was easiest for me to take that huge pallet and then sort it up into big boxes of what the item was, because I personally love pants and jeans. So I would make a box of all pants and jeans and I would keep that. And then I'd make a box and I just throw like all the bras in there, take another box, throw all the swimsuits in there. I get a total on each one. And that made it easy for me to put together these smaller Bolo box lots. So it's kind of just like a natural thing that came because I already had it sorted by what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my buyers wanted something specific. The only reason they're buying from me versus the big wholesaler is it was cheaper and they could get a small quantity of something that they really wanted and not have to take more of a risk and be like, here's a mystery box. It could be anything women's related. I have it pretty narrowed down to what you'll get.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's I guess good information for me, because in my brain, how I sort, like, let's talk summer. Actually, it's funny. Like summer slow. You hear me if you listen to me yap my mouth all day long about selling on eBay. I don't believe in a summer slowdown. And so you get into the groups and it's like, why are my sales so slow? Why am I so, and like, there's always somebody that jumps in and it's like, oh, it's summertime. People are out by the pool. They're drinking beer. I'm always like, there's no such thing as summer slowdown. I hate to tell you that, but there's no proof in like transactional volume dying off in June. That's not it. But, so I'm in this group and I tell people to like, stay out of the groups. Like, if you really want to help your business, like stop like asking questions in groups, because you get just terrible advice. Like, it's so bad. But it's like this one here is like, my sales have dropped. Like, what do I do? Like, I had to cancel List Perfectly because my sales went from 5 to 2 a day. And, someone's like, well, it's the summertime. June is always very slow. And I'm thinking to myself, that really is it's simply not the case. So you mentioned you have a swimwear lot, right? Well, if you're selling swimwear in June, you're probably going to do really, really well, right? I mean, it's so easy for me, like in my brain, like seasonality matters, but there's no such thing as a summer slowdown. So when you're buying, can you get for yourself like targeted summer items, or did you just get lucky with the swimwear stuff? Like, and it just all came mixed.
The swimwear was mixed in with women's clothing in that huge 2,000 piece lot. For me, it's been difficult to find like a big targeted lot of like only summer stuff. If you buy Macy's, a lot of times theirs are broken up with like fall, winter season, spring, summer season.
Yeah.
So if you buy a fall, winter season, you do get a lot of sweaters and things. But in the springtime and summer, the fall, winter stuff is what they have available for sale.
Right.
So
right.
You're
Exactly.
going to have to buy it out of season. But I guess I'm different from you because I believe in summer slowdown. But it's because of what I sell, though. I love pants and jeans.
Right.
And those are slower sellers in summer naturally. So for me, I do see a decrease in sales, but it's because of what I'm selling. If I had more swimsuits listed and more like shorts and tank tops or sandals, I probably wouldn't see as big of a fluctuation in sales over the summer months. But I think it really depends what you're selling. If you're selling all winter coats, yes, summer slowdown does exist for you.
Seasonality absolutely matters. It really does matter. The beauty of diversifying, though, and that's how I was like, if I'm gonna offer in the future wholesale lots of inventory for other eBay resellers, I want to build those lots diverse. So I'll sprinkle in some of these things, and I'll sprinkle in seasons, right? And so you might get like a sweater in July, but that sweater like is going to fly off the shelf in September. You're just going to have to. But for me, it's like, how can I best present like the best case scenario for a potential buyer? But there really is no harm, now that we've talked about that, of doing like a pants only thing for that seller, or like this person just loves this one thing or this one season or this one style, or like just doing a mixed lot of hats. You know what I mean? Something as easy as that. I suppose I should like think along those lines as well in the future, if that's something that I do.
Yeah, because people can make their own decision. Like maybe they already have a ton of swimsuits in their store and they're looking to diversify and get some winter items. Or maybe they have all winter items and they're looking to diversify and get some summer sandals or some swimsuits. So that's why I've broken them up into those little more specific lots so that they can get exactly what they want. Because most resellers know what they're looking for if they're gonna buy a wholesale lot. They want something very specific.
Yeah, this
which
sounds
you
like
can't get with the big companies.
But it sounds also too like so if you're a new eBay seller, buying wholesale inventory right off of the bat is not a terrible idea, especially if you focus on seasonality. So if there's somebody here that's watching that's new or just to reselling in general, like focus on the seasons. So right now, what are we in? We're in June. We're in like the heart of June. So what's working for you outside of the swimsuits, like pool related items? Like I don't know. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but focus on those items. And then of course, if something on your website pops up that's summer related, that would get you off to a really good start really, really quickly. And I think that that's important. It would be really frustrating to buy, like the winter coat lot, even if it's a sweet deal from Megan, like maybe it'll take you a couple of months and you're trying to hit the ground running and now you're worried why you're slow. I mean, that's an abundantly obvious suggestion or example, but even for new sellers, like if you had to ask me and I had to go back, like, and I had the funds to do it, because it really doesn't sound like it's expensive too. I mean, if you're charging people $100, and I'm sure you have different price points, but you're charging people $100 and they're getting 20, especially brand new items. I mean, I think 80% of everything on eBay sold is brand new at this point. Like the pre-owned market has gotten smaller and smaller relative to the new with tags, like the amount of items that are brand new that are sold on eBay. I don't know. I think it's a smart choice and not an expensive choice in the beginning.
Yeah, if you can spend $100 and get it, which is kind of, I guess, I'm more of a middleman, because with the big wholesalers, you have to buy the bigger lots to get a better deal. And some people who are new maybe don't want to go out and spend a couple $1,000s on a lot that they're not familiar with. So I guess I'm kind of like the middle in between. And there's tons of other wholesalers that are doing smaller lots now. Before, even a year ago, it was harder to find wholesale stuff, but now with the way everything's changing, a lot more people are doing wholesale.
Do you charge like so you charge a flat fee per lot? Do they have to pay shipping also? Like how does all the rest of that stuff work?
No, so I do free shipping, which is one of, I guess, the benefits of my site, I should say. It's on Shopify, so I ship via UPS, but I only ship within the 48 states. So sorry, Alaska people at home. Sorry, people in Hawaii. You have to do calculated shipping for that. But I do free UPS shipping within the 48 states. So I have to figure that into my pricing as well.
That's insane, because I'm always like, and the wholesale thing is different. Excuse me. But do you charge shipping in your eBay store or free shipping in your eBay store?
Free shipping.
Free. So use it free?
I pad all my prices to account for it. People like that little free shipping thing, They
do. So. I always tell people, like, it's not hard to watch me or hard to listen to me. It's just so the way I think about like the buyers is I'm looking for somebody that just like has to have this item. And a lot of times they think it's the best listing because it's the highest priced, right? And so there's a big market of people that like will buy the most expensive item because they're convinced that that's the best one. It doesn't even have to be that the pictures were the best, or it doesn't even have to be true that mine was the best one out of whatever the competition was, but they're still paying that price because that's what because they expect that that's going to be the best one. It doesn't even have to be the best one, but that buyer also is not worried about like, well, wait a minute, I'm spending $250 on this item. Is the shipping free? Like they don't think
it's that perceived value. And I totally believe in that perceived value. I price all of my stuff high, obviously, because I have to pad the shipping in there too. But I try to be within like the 75th to like 90th percentile on pricing with eBay. I price high intentionally, and I do good photos, and I want people to see that extra value in there and be like, oh, this must be a really great item because it's priced higher.
Yeah. I mean, I just sold a good example. I just sold last night. I sold a Lisa Frank backpack, right? I mean, her stuff is like, for whatever reason, it's come back in popularity, like in droves. And I charged $250 for it. And then, $250, like this person.
For Lisa Frank? What are you selling?
It was a Lisa Frank, those see-through backpacks that she made in the 90s, right?
Lisa Frank, I was into that in the 90s.
I walked into a Goodwill like 3 or 4, like a week ago, and it was just sitting on a couch. And just through knowing what I know about that being a Bolo brand, I grabbed it, and it was in pristine condition. The thing looked like it was almost brand new. So I know that her like alien stuff, like if you can find her alien stuff, I mean, they'll pay $600, $700, $1,000 for the backpacks. I actually had in my video, someone bought a denim Lisa Frank jacket with the aliens on the back for like $7,000. So people are going crazy. So I'm like, this market right now is nuts for her stuff. Like, I'm not going to have any trouble getting $250 for this one. It had spotted dolphins on it. But yeah, I knew. And like, do you think that buyer is going to worry about paying $8 more for shipping? No,
because they wanted your special, unique item. But maybe that's where we differ. Is I sell a lot of common, oversaturated items, and you probably sell more unique stuff that you don't have a ton of competition.
Yeah, I mean, I try to, like, it's artificial competition. I'm like trying to make my competition artificial by simply by pricing so high.
Yeah. But you should. That's excellent.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, whatever. A lot of people, and again, that's another thing for new people too. If you start and you want to offer free shipping, that's great. But that's how a lot of people start too, in the interest of like learning the systems and learning how to sell, and maybe offering free shipping gets you that much closer to making those quicker sales early on. But as you get better and you get more comfortable, you don't necessarily have to do that again, unless you're selling like, Gap jeans. Like, you're going to need a way to stand out, and offering free shipping is one of those ways. There's a lot of
That's what I'm doing. I'm selling Gap jeans.
Is it really? Well, I mean, listen.
That's my edge over the competition, because some of these items that I sell, there's like 20,000 other listings. And I just don't like hard goods. So, I sell in an oversaturated market. You have to be competitive. So
that's true. I guess I didn't think of that either. Like you're selling all clothing. Like, and I backed away. Not that I backed away from clothing. I'm trying to get into it a little bit more, just because, a sale is a sale is a sale. And, you find one of those pair of like vintage Levi jeans, like, you'd be foolish to pass that up. So do what you got to do. But yeah, that's a way to stay competitive. Like I totally get that. I actually just sold a pair of, there's a Gap jeans. It was either Gap jeans or I don't know, it was another like generic brand. I was like, man, I forgot I even had those. It's like they were like 3 years old. Oh my God, that would have cost me what? If I was selling that on Amazon, like they charge you like monthly storage and like long-term storage fees. Good grief, that thing. But on eBay, it's a different story. They don't charge anywhere near to hold inventory that long. So you sell something from 4 years ago, you're like, oh God, I thought that thing burned in a fire.
Yeah.
We still have that.
A lot of my items are old, especially with the clothing. The market is so saturated. A lot of the items I'm selling have been sitting for 2 or 3 years. But now I'm making better buying decisions, as I go. But
sure,
it's a very slow market, and you have to make a huge funnel if you want to have daily sales.
I feel like buying wholesale, buying bulk, slowly as the market as like the reselling market evolves, is something that all of us should kind of be thinking long-term about. There's people that are doing like the high bid auction sites. And I think I try not to get into the auction thing, because I don't want to get into a bidding war. Like that if I can walk into a Goodwill and find a Lisa Frank backpack for $1.99 that I know is worth $250, like it's going to be hard to get me to sit at an auction and fight over someone over something and watch the margin disappear. But that's not everybody. Like, some of us are pressed for time. Some of us don't have those options. So auctions and wholesale makes sense, if you're trying, again, to stay diverse and cover all of your bases and try to protect yourself if you really want to like give this thing a go. I mean, you and I are both pretty good proof. If you kind of stick with it and you get better, don't be afraid to make mistakes and go down these paths. When most people, I hate to quote anybody, especially somebody I don't follow, but I'm going to quote Tony Robbins here. I'm not a Tony Robbins fan. I'm also not a hater. It's just, he said something that made sense to me. And that's like when most people are faced with either, success or failure, they usually succeed, right? Like, or like a life or death thing. Like when you're faced with life or death, you usually stay alive. You know what I mean? I forget exactly what it was, but
I like Tony Robbins.
But, yeah, I mean, it's great Saturday morning listening. I don't know. You're not going to see me at one of those like town hall things that he does, but
I probably wouldn't go either, but I like to listen to audiobooks while I work, and I have listened to, I think, 2 of his so far, and I like it. Like some of it's a bit out there, but there's always like a message in there that you can take. There's something to learn. Right.
And he's right. He's right. Like when you're faced with that like critical point, it usually works out. Like where it usually always ends up working out. Yeah. So all right. So it's thebolobox.com. Do you have listings live now?
I do. I've got QVC up right now. It launched the other day, so some of the lots are sold out, but there's still a few available. I'm hoping to have my garage cleared out in the next couple weeks so that I can have more pallets, because I like to buy 3 or 4 pallets at a time to get the best price. Mm-hmm. So there's stuff up there for sale now, but it's going to be a few weeks, maybe even a month before I get anything else. Can
they get on an email list?
Yes. Okay. So there's a box at the bottom of the page to put in your email address, and I do send out an email when lots go live. I promise I won't spam you. I only send out an email when I do a launch.
Fair enough. That's great. All right. Well, we could go on for another hour, but I'm not going to do that to you. So we'll cut it off here. Actually, just hang tight real quick. I'll end the broadcast and say thank you very, very much for taking time. I think this was an important one. So I'm hopeful that some people catch on and consider the whole thing. So
yes, thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time to reach out to me and have you on your channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Okay. I'll hit end here and
okay.
Just hang tight.